Acquiring a chest rig loadout is something every serious citizen should consider. And what are the reasons for that? With everything going on in the world, civil unrest and world without law is becoming more and more common across the globe. And being naive to the increase in foreign conflicts and how it can affect your community will not solve the problem. So over the last couple of years, I've been engaging in activities that have helped me better understand and prepare myself for situations such as civil unrest and possible natural disasters. And one of the things I've been focusing on most recently is how to be self-sustainable and mobile in adverse conditions. And if you haven't figured it out already, that brings us over to the topic of this video. I truly think every serious citizen should be rocking a chest rig. So I'm going to go over my thoughts and theologies of civilians owning chest rigs, and later in the video, I'll be showing you my personal chest rig and why I have it set up the way that I do. So if you're still on the fence about buying this piece of equipment for yourself, I hope this video will push you in a positive direction. Before we get too far in this video, I'd like to say thank you to our channel sponsor, Obsidian Tactics. Obsidian Tactics is an online retailer that offers a curated selection of high quality and high value products that have been vetted throughout the 2A community. A lot of the items they offer are well-known brands that you may already be looking to purchase. So go visit Obsidian Tactics for all your 2A needs and wants. All right, back to the video. I first started realizing the importance of self-sustainment back in 2014. For those who may not know, I live down in Georgia, and this was when we had a record-breaking snow and ice storm that crippled all forms of transportation. We had people stuck on highways, trains, and even in airports because there was no reliable way to travel to any destination. For the viewers that are in the north, snow and ice is something that you guys are accustomed to. But down here in the south, we didn't have an infrastructure in place to prepare us for weather like this at that time. I remember feeling a sense of slight panic as the days continued to go on without a solution for travel. We were also going in and out of blackouts in my region, so refrigerated and perishable items were increasingly going bad. This experience really opened my eyes to the fact that I personally could not sustain my own survival if push came to shove. Now, I didn't immediately start looking for ways to transform myself into the next Rambo, but since then, I've grown an interest in learning more valuable survival skills that could aid me in the future. Things like weightlifting, backpacking, running, and shooting really came into play. And when I was looking to acquire a piece of gear that could complement all these activities, a chest rig really became a no-brainer. And hopefully my setup gives you a template you can base your personal chest rig off of. But what classifies as a chest rig? A chest rig is a piece of gear typically consisting of a harness or straps that secure an array of pouches and compartments to carry essential equipment on your chest. Compared to plate carriers, chest rigs allow for better mobility and comfort by evenly distributing the weight of gear across the chest and shoulders. This makes them ideal for extended periods of use as they reduce fatigue on the hips and lower back. And that's very important because when we think about sustainment, we're thinking about being able to take care of ourselves for an unknown amount of time. You do not know if you'll have to move to a new location in order to increase your survivability odds. Chest rigs also make it easy to keep all of your important gear easy to access and readily accessible. And this is something that is greatly overlooked for a lot of people. Going back to my experience with backpacking, of course you're always going to want to bring the most essential things you'll need for any given trip, but you also have to be mindful of how you pack it because you'll want to be able to access certain items quickly depending on your circumstance. I remember my friend and I went on a backpacking trip towards the Georgia and South Carolina border. And while we were hiking, it started to rain. I did check the forecast ahead of time, knowing it was gonna rain during our weekend trip. But when I packed my bag, I actually put the raincoat towards the bottom of my pack. So when it started raining, getting to my raincoat would have consisted of me unpacking half of my gear on the side of the trail. So at that point, I just opted to walk in the rain and to change my clothes once we got to the campsite. But that right there is a prime example of not having my most essential gear readily accessible at a critical time. So with chest rigs, being able to have your primary essentials such as ammo, medical, food, navigation, and communication tools is important if you're wanting to operate in the most efficient method possible. All right, the part you've all been waiting for, my chest rig. I do want you to know that the purpose of my chest rig specifically was to be able to observe and engage threats at range. So you'll see a few items that you may not need given your own personal purpose. All right, so the base of this whole chest rig is the T.REX Arms quad flap chest rig. You can find this on their website. They typically have this in stock all the time. Now, this rig does not inherently come with extra pouches attached to it already. So these are things that I added on, including this and all this other stuff. Really, it's just the H harness, the quad flap, and then the attachments on the back, which I'll get to. But starting with the front, this comes with 4 magazine pouches, and in these pouches you can fit 2 5.56 magazines per pouch. So in total I'm running 8, but the cool thing about this is that they have this elasticity on the side, which allows you to put different types of magazines in here. So if you're running 7.62, you can stick a 7.62 mag in there and it'll hold it pretty firmly. You can only fit 1 if you're gonna do 7.62 because those magazines are a bit bigger. Same with DMR, you can fit a standard size DMR mag in there. And if you really wanna go crazy, you can fit 4 MP5 mags in 1 magazine pouch on this rig. So I think it's really cool to have versatility because I don't wanna be constrained to just one platform. If something were to happen and I had to switch guns in an emergency situation, I'm able to still carry ammo in the same compartments as I would with my own personalized loadout. On the sides here, there are 3 rows of MOLLE, which allows you to attach anything that you think is necessary for your setup. I have a GP pouch and something to hold my Nalgene, but you can choose whatever you want. This is just how I set mine up and it seems to be working out pretty fine. Like I mentioned before, this comes with an H harness. I prefer H harness over X. I just find that the X harness, you're kind of getting this weird like pressure point across your back and shoulders, and it's always moving because there's nothing securing it properly. So H harness to me is the way to go, and I really appreciate that they did that. Flipping it over to the back, there are a few more features that's on this rig. One being they have 2 radio pouches and they're padded. These are standard sized radio pouches. So what I mean by that is that these will hold civilian sized radios, and you might be able to get away with putting some bigger, more robust radios in here, but these are just meant to hold regular sized radios that any civilian should have access to. They also have this back strap that's provided, and I really like this because it has some elasticity to it, meaning you get a little bit of give, so you don't feel like you're super constrained to this chest rig. Like you have a little bit of breathing room. And then on the back, they have this, I mean, I don't want to call this a pull tab, but they have this little tab right here, or buckle, I don't know what you call this, to tighten and loosen the back strap. So I really, really like this because it adds a level of modularity. What I usually do is I have this loose all the way when I have this chest rig stowed away, and then I'll throw it on with it loose, buckle it in, and depending on what I'm wearing that day will determine how tight I need to make it. And I like being able to adjust that on the fly. So as you saw in some of the footage, you know, when I was shooting in colder weather, I actually had this really, really loose to fit around my coat, and all I had to do was tighten it down about that much to get it nice and snug. But then when I was wearing just a t-shirt or a sun shirt, I was able to bring it all the way over so it's really, really snug on me. When you have a chest rig that has a lot of stuff on it, you do want this to be secure to your body. You don't want the ends and your attachments to be flapping around because that's a huge distraction. And honestly, it's really, really annoying. So I really like that that's provided and that it has some give. Lastly, or not lastly, there's 2 more things, but second to last, I like that they have this Velcro backing. And with this Velcro backing, you're able to attach danglers. So I have the T.REX Arms dump pouch, which is really cool that you can, you know, roll it up or open it up whenever you need to. It attaches with hook and loop, and then they have this backing that you can use to cover it so that it's not getting torn off when you're running or I don't know, what other activity you may be doing. It just protects it from getting unattached. And then lastly, this comes with a, I guess this is like a map pouch. And in here, I have some items that I'm gonna get to later on. I'm gonna flip this back over and go over my items, but you can put some more stuff in here. So I really like that. I just feel like this chest rig gave me a really good starting point. And then over time, I went and made it my own. So what I'm gonna do now is just go through everything that I have on this chest rig. And again, hopefully this will give you something to base your personal rig off of if you ever decide to purchase one. And it doesn't have to be from T.REX Arms, it could be from anybody else. You saw that I have the magazines. One thing that I do put with my magazines is a range card. This is a range card by Sobchak Security LLC. The way that this works is that if you have a scope that has mils or MOA, because they do make an MOA version of this, you can put your reticle on said item in the distance, and then however mils it fits into will determine the distance. So I'm not gonna go into the nitty gritty of this. Maybe I'll make a video about this and show you that you can range things. And I've played with this before and it's actually pretty accurate. And when I say accurate, I mean give and take like 50 yards. I know that sounds like a lot, but when you're shooting at distance, a 50-yard deviation when it comes to mill at the closer and the medium ranges really won't make a difference. When you get out to like that 700, 800, 900 range, yeah, you're definitely gonna wanna be super accurate, and you might wanna have a rangefinder or something of that sort. So that's what I have in there behind my magazine, because it just fits really nice. Going over to my GP pouch, pretty much I have everything I need to support everything else that I do. And I do wanna make a disclaimer that I don't have everything in my GP pouch that I'll need. I pair this with a backpack so that I have extra things that I deem necessary that I don't need immediate access to. So going into the GP pouch, in here, I have some extra earplugs. I do have Ear Pro, but sometimes it's just nice to double up. So I have that in there. And that's all that's in that pocket. I could probably use it for something else. And then this pocket, because I don't want too much stuff and making it hard to, you know, put things away, I have a Rite in the Rain pen. So it's a waterproof pen that can work when it's wet. And I've actually used this in the rain before. So this definitely does what it says it does. And it's always good to have writing utensils on you. You never know when you're gonna have to write something down specifically. All right, so in here, I have my compass. This is I mean, I don't know how to say this. AOFAR. It's a compass that you can use for arranging and getting coordinates on a map. And out here, you can see that it's kind of like this, I don't know, lime green color. That's actually glow in the dark, so you can use this at night. And you can, there are a lot more things I can say about navigation, but that's gonna be a different video for a different day. But I have a compass, and I have that tethered because this is something that I don't wanna lose, because navigation and communication are very, very important. And if I lose this, not knowing where north is or how to find my way back to a certain location is gonna do more harm than good. Then I have a spare radio battery, which I will talk about my radio in a little bit, but it's a BAOFENG UV5R. So I keep a spare battery in there. And then I have my rangefinder. So you guys saw earlier that I had a range card. I have that as a backup, as a secondary, if something were to happen to this, like if the batteries were to die and I didn't have replacements. So this is a Vortex 1400. Just as it says in the name, it can range out to 1400. I personally haven't had luck with that. I typically can get out to like 1,000-ish reliably, but I'm only ranging from like, you know, anywhere inward of 900. I just wanted something that I can range to 900 pretty effectively so that I can shoot accurately while using my dope. So, and also it's really cool just to have a rangefinder just to kind of like see how far away certain things are. I made a video about that actually that I'll talk about later. Oh yeah, and then I have just like kind of like a gator mask. These are really important for colder weather and dusty environments. This is something that I really, really like, and it's actually gotten a few uses. And that's all I have. Oh no, it's not. Medical. So no matter what kind of kit I'm running, I have some sort of medical, and I always make sure that each piece of kit has its own medical. So my chest rig, I have some things in here. I mean, I'm not gonna go through my whole med kit, but I have some essentials in here, you know, gauze, alcohol wipes. What else do I have? Anti-disinfectant wipes, Band-Aids. I even have like baby shears, just something to have, you know? Is this enough to take care of every single wound that may happen? No, but it's better than nothing. And then, like I said, when I carry a backpack, I have medical in the backpack. If I have a belt, I have medical on my belt. Like, I just make sure there's medical everywhere just in case. So yeah, medical. Over here, I have my Magpie Gloves. Where's the other one? There it is. These are really useful in cold weather. I wore these a couple of times this year just to go shooting, and these are a lifesaver. I never really thought that gloves that felt kind of thin could retain heat as well as they do. So Magpie did a really good job with these gloves, and I'm really happy that I have them. I obviously don't use them all the time, so I just have them attached right here out of the way. And if I ever need them, all I gotta do is just hit this button and I can rip these off real quick. We'll go to this side and then we'll go to the back, because what I have going on right here kind of feeds into the back. Got my Nalgene right here. And then right here, I have this, a lot of people are always curious about what this is. If you haven't seen it before, it's by Thyrm. And what it is a waterproof battery case. I have a ton of electronics on here, and you do not want anything dying on you when you need them the most. So like you see here, I have a headlamp. I do have a spare battery, but can't put that in there. I have my rangefinder. I have batteries in my optics. I have an external flashlight that I use. I have a ton of stuff that needs batteries. So in here, this is the extra large. It's waterproof, and I can fit all kinds of batteries. Currently, I think I have 2 CR123s, or I might have 3 CR123s in there. 2 AAAs. I just have a ton of batteries for like my optics, everything that you see here, and it keeps it waterproof. Another cool thing about this is if you want to buy another one of these, attach it somewhere else, you can use it just to keep things that you need dry protected. So if I wanted to have some matches or lighters and stuff like that, I can use that as well. All you gotta do is just take out the insert that's kind of lined up for, or made for batteries, and just put in whatever you want in there. Okay, so down here, I have my dump pouch. So this is the T.REX Arms dump pouch. I keep it rolled up majority of the time, unless I'm having a really, really long day on the range, because I have a dump pouch on my belt. So I don't really use this one unless I really need to. But sometimes it does come in handy, and I like to have the option of having extra storage if I need it. I need to put extra water bottle or another notebook or other things on the range, or anything miscellaneous you may come across while you're out, trying to survive or sustain yourself. So this is just attached by Velcro, and then it just rolls down. And the cool thing about it is that there's hook and loop here, and there's hook and loop on the inside. So if I have something sensitive in here, I can cover it, and it's somewhat waterproof. I mean, it has drainage at the bottom, but it's somewhat waterproof. And if I don't have anything sensitive and I need to get into it quickly, I can attach the hook and loop down there, and I just have an open pouch, readily accessible. So easily go in there. I don't know if I have anything in there right now. I think I had pacers in there earlier. And then if you want to just save on real estate, I find having it rolled up majority of the time keeps this rig pretty slim and agile. Oh, headlamp. So this is a Nitecore headlamp. I really like these. I mean, they've held up, and I do like the way that they seal up. I've had some other headlamps where it's the plastic pieces that they use to seal the batteries inside always broke. I'm not gonna name brand names, but there are definitely a lot of them out there. So Nitecore hasn't done me wrong yet. It's been wet, and it's been in some, not the harshest temperatures or anything like that, but it's done its job. And I just have it threaded through some of the PT straps on the front because I don't have a PT on that side. Speaking of PT, I have a BTECH, and I have that wired all the way down, then back up to my radio on the back. It's nice to have a push to talk like this, because if you just have to keep taking your radio in and out of that pouch, and when it's attached to you, it is very hard to get it in and out. It's not impossible, but it's just like, it's more hassle than it really should be. So having a push to talk that's on your shoulder, and then just being able to control the volume knob, just makes this whole experience of communications a lot nicer. But speaking of PT, this is, I guess I should just take this out. This is a BAOFENG UV5R, and I have just a few things done to it, nothing crazy. The battery compartments on these are like really small, like this OEM battery that it comes with. I went and bought the extended battery so that it fits into my hand a lot nicer. Then I added a PTT guard, because if you guys have ever carried a radio that didn't have something protecting the push to talk, you will find that it will constantly just hot mic over and over and over again when it pushes up against you, or when you're walking, or if you hold it too tight and you're broadcasting just nonsense, I got a PTT guard, so you have to intentionally get your finger into this little hole right here to make it activate. That's the only things I've done to it. Is this the best radio you can get? No. I got this radio because I wanted to learn how to program frequencies, and I wanted to learn how frequencies work and how to bounce off repeaters. So this is like a learning radio. But yeah, I got the PTT, or the push to talk over here. I wired through some of the molly on this side, and I just keep that right there. And then over here, I have a tourniquet. Probably need to replace this one because that's been in there for a while. So I need to buy another tourniquet and get that replaced. All right, and then lastly, in the map pouch, I guess you would say, I have a few things. So let's start here. I got my Rite in the Rain notebook. So you saw that I had the waterproof pen. This is a waterproof notebook. And this is just good to have just so you can write any notes down you may need to if you're you know, out and about. You know, let's say the grid were to go down and we've been in civil unrest for a very long time, government's gone, and you need to map out, you know, a river you found that would be good for purifying water and getting water back to your family. You can create a map on your journey to the river or whatever it is, and then now you have something to reference every time you need to go back that direction. That's just me talking on the extreme end. What I primarily use it for right now is that it's like, it holds my dope. So I have my dope electronically saved, but I like to write it down just in case if, you know, like my phone were to die or something like that, and I have something to reference. And it's just good information to have. But you can use this for anything, just any purpose. I have an emergency blanket. These are really useful because you can use them for a variety of things, you know, such as, you know, regulating somebody's temperature or building an emergency shelter. Not ideal, but you can still do it. And you can also use these because they're highly reflective to signal for rescue if you're in a tough spot. I always have these. I have one in here and then I'll have one in my backpack as well, but emergency blanket. And then this, it's not a necessity, but like I said, this setup is built for the range. So this is my QB sleeve that I'll use to write my dope, depending on what distances I'll be shooting at that day. So like if I'm at a competition, instead of, you know, trying to find my notebook and going through and, okay, 450, it's 3.1 mils. What I'll do ahead of time is take this paper out, and you can buy these at like Sports Academy or any sporting goods store near you. And you just take the paper out, write down, you know, all your information up top, biometrics or environmentals, and then you can write your dope. And then, so throw this on real quick. And then just like that, when you're holding your rifle, you have something just to glance down at. You don't have to search. Obviously, you know, it's easier to write it in different colors. So, you know, like for me, I'll write like the most important ranges at like in red, and then I'll write any other ranges that I think might be a part of the stage in a different color. So I can just look down, see red, boom. This is just, like I said, purpose specific. I don't think everybody needs this. It's just for the sporting and competition world. Yeah, that's all I have in this department. So that's all I really have in this setup or in this chest rig. There are other things that I could add to this. Like I know for sure I wanted to add my multi-tool. I just haven't found a way to put it on here without sacrificing something I think is important. But like I said, I'm usually gonna carry a pack in conjunction with this chest rig. So anything that I can't fit on here will be in the pack. But yeah, that's pretty much my entire rig. By no means is it perfect. There are some things I still want to change around, but as of right now, this has served me really, really well. So there you go, my own personal chest rig setup. A ton of you have been asking for this video for a couple of months now, but I really wanted to spend some time behind this rig before I made a verdict on it. But as of right now, I can honestly say that I love this chest rig and that it's gonna be around for a long time, mainly because of its adaptability and ease of use. I like that I can configure this towards sustainment and long-range engagements. And speaking of long-range engagements, if you want to hear more about why I think civilians should be practicing shooting at distance, here's a video about true engagement distances in urban environments. And hopefully I pushed some of you guys towards getting a chest rig for yourself. For those who already rock chest rigs, leave down below what chest rig you went with, because I want to know more about the pros and cons of your specific setup. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.